was late after work. I was
Today
leaving.
on Music and Culture, we welcome singer-songwriter Mira Goto, who has a new EP out called Before. Welcome, Mira.
I just want to know how you discovered your musical talent.
Allegedly, my parents tell me the story. I went to preschool one day. One of my classmates had brought their violin for show and tell, and then I came home and would not stop asking my parents for a violin. And they eventually caved, got me a violin, got me some lessons, and I played that for 10 years. I think I still have it up. Yeah, over here on the wall. There it is. And but then as a teenager, I switched over to the guitar. I just thought it was a cooler instrument, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I never looked back. And now I wish I'd kind of done both violin and guitar, but so that was, I was just really interested in it. I was obsessed, if you will, and I got the bug. And I guess I got it young, and that's really fortunate for me because there's never really been any other options for me in terms of career path. It's just always been music.
Do you come from a musical family?
Yes and no. They are all, I would consider my whole family very musically gifted. My maternal grandmother played the organ for her church. And so it's just a really, really gifted piano player. And as a result, my whole family grew up with just exposure to music, which is helpful. I bring a guitar to family functions and we break out a song like the Von Trapps. It's a little bit intimidating if you're trying to date into the family.
Oh, that's great.
I love the guitar, and honestly, I'm gonna let it kill me someday. I hope that's how I go.
Did you start writing songs right away?
No, in fact, I didn't start singing for quite a while after that. I would just play. I wanted to learn Dave Matthews Band and Dashboard Confessional and Jack Johnson. And that was right, when the singer-songwriter sort of early 2000s boom happened was when I started playing guitar. Then John Mayer came out and Jason Mraz came out and Colby Calais came out, and they took me with them. And so writing songs happened probably around that time. But first I had to start singing, and now I had a sister who was really into singing, and she did all theater. She was in the theater scene, and so she asked me to harmonize with her so she could just sing all the time, and I would play guitar, and she sort of taught me how to harmonize, and she's always been the boss of me, even though she's little. She's little. So she bullied me into it, and I'm totally grateful for that.
Where did you start to perform first?
I was terrified to perform in front of other people. That was a huge, huge sort of hurdle I had to get over. So I did a couple, I did like a high school talent show, but again, my sister was singing and I was playing, and that was really hard for me. But my very first open mic that I ever did, my dad was like such a supporter of me and still is, obviously, to this day. I said I wanted to do a performance, and he sort of, talked me into it. It took him years to get me to agree. So I said, I have to go out of town. We have to leave this area. I want to be like 1 or 2 hours outside of town so I don't accidentally sing for someone that I know and die of embarrassment. So we drove from San Jose to San Francisco, because they have a lot of open mics in the bigger cities, right? And I played up there, and he came up on stage in the middle of my song and adjusted the microphone, and I could have died on the spot. I was so embarrassed, and now I'm like, that would have been super helpful. I don't know why I was embarrassed, but I was.
How old were you?
Teenager, maybe like 18, maybe. But I was singing like Brown Eyed Girl, and you get two songs. I always would do a song I wrote and a cover song. And I was always way more comfortable with the cover song than my own. And there came a shift. There came a time where I was more comfortable with my own songs than I was with the cover songs. And that's a turning point in that I consider that to be like a pivotal moment in my trajectory as a songwriter.
Would that be the moment when you said, "This is my life"? Was there a defining moment when you went from "This is something I'm pursuing, this is something I love"? Usually there's a kind of a watershed where it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing professionally for the rest of my life.
There were a few sort of, I guess, breakthroughs because I didn't really know that you could be a songwriter professionally. I kind of thought you had to be a singer-songwriter.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, well, how do I get really good at performing? How do like if I'm gonna do this, I have to overcome the stage fright factor. And
Right.
so, I sort of personified my stage fright and I pretended it was like a monster. I know this sounds a little bit weird, but it was my coping mechanism, okay?
Yeah.
So I would like sort of invite it to sit on stage with me. And I
Yeah.
knew that I was, even if I didn't feel nervous leading up to going on stage, as soon as I got on stage, I didn't want to be caught off guard by being nervous. So I just sort of like had to look it in the eye and go like, it's okay that you're here. It's okay that you're nervous. It's okay that like I'm gonna be scared because I am good at what I do. And sometimes like I'm gonna cough or sometimes a note's gonna come out squeaky, but like that doesn't mean that I'm not good at what I do. So I had to sort of get there in my own time. And I still have moments where I get really, really nervous now, but I can handle it better. It doesn't make the wheels fall off.
Let's show the audience how wonderful you are.
But nobody warns me about driving your truck or that long jump out, about the moonshine buds and all those late nights in your house. It's only been a couple months, but this feels like home. Yeah, they warned me that might happen, but they did not know it'd be about blue eyes, about a southern drawl, how you open up my door and how fast my heart could fall. Stay away from bad boys and dirty old cowboy boots. They try to warn me, but nobody warns me. They try to warn me, but nobody warns me.
That was 2020.
2020. Yeah. Yeah. I've been watching you ever since, listening to your music ever since. Um, the new EP before is, I defy anybody to listen to that without getting misty. You have a pipeline to the human heart. I wonder what the writing process is like for you.
Well, I can tell you I was going through it. So I definitely feel like that my work is a reflection of sort of the times that I was in. And, I wrote a lot of songs during that sort of chapter of my life. And these are the ones that I felt sort of represented who I was at the time. This is a very personal collection that's like near and dear to me. Um, the writing process, like one of them, I had just had a baby and wanted to write a song for my kid. And I think Joey was 3 months old. And we took him on the plane, went to Nashville, stayed at the house, and let me sort of get back into work. And that was really, it helps to have a supportive partner for sure. Because he was like, we got to get you, like, I wanted to go, I wanted to work, and I wanted to write. And so yeah, I talked about my kid and my writing appointment, and my co-writer for that song, Bright Eyes, was Greg Barnhill, who's also a father. And so he gave me like just some words of encouragement because I was in the throes of like it was brand new, I had no idea what I was
Yeah.
doing. And we talked about it. He said, well, tell me about Joey. And I was like, well, I just met him, I don't know very much about him. But yeah, so we wrote that song about him. I do have a song on there that I wrote back in like 2017 or 2018. And it was about a very old relationship that ended, years ago. Obviously, I've been married for almost 8 years now. So it was well before all of that. And but you get older, you reflect and you look back on how young and naive and sort of well, things you could have done differently. And so that's one of the songs on there. That's the title track, Before. It was a hard time. I lost a parent, and I had a very difficult pregnancy and subsequent delivery. It was a really tough chapter, and it's caused me to grow as a person. And I'm grateful for my ability to relate to people on that level now. And I'm not necessarily grateful for like the tough times and the loss that I experienced and all of that, but it does give me sort of a superpower, I think, now to share my experience and relate to people on that level.
Yeah, Before, just to let the audience know, is about a relationship that comes along a little too soon in the young woman's life, and the two teenagers are really truly in love, maybe for the first time in their lives, but she walks away. That killed me. I just am still trying to get over that. I mean, I think I had a relationship kind of like that too, and I bet a lot of people have. People talk to you about that?
Yeah, young love, it's the song for me, I wrote it after I ran into the guy
Yeah,
at an event. We have mutual friends, and I
yeah,
hadn't seen him in years and years, and kind of just, I don't want to say I forgot about him, because we do still have mutual friends, but we never bumped into each other. And the relationship in totality was months. It was not anything super significant in terms of time, but it was significant in terms of the heart, if you will. And so when I ran into him, he's I thought, okay, well, I was there with my husband, and
yeah,
I said, I'll just go say hi. Like, my husband, I just said, you stay here, I'll go say hi to him,
yeah.
kind of get this over with. And so I did. I walked up to him. I said, hey, how's it going? It's nice to see you. You look great. How are you? And he looked at me and said, do I know you? And like walked away. And so I kind of thought, okay, well, that's like that. If you need to pretend not to know me in order to like
Right.
survive this event, then I'm going to let you do that. And so that forced me to sort of like wonder exactly, like it was difficult for me, but it was also like over when I said it was over. And
Yeah,
it sounds like he was affected in a way that as a teenager, I didn't consider. I didn't consider his feelings. I didn't consider how all of that. So I was just young and naive, and life experience and growing up and maturing sort of allows you to look back and go, I could have handled that better. I could have handled that better. So yeah, it was not it's not something I'm super proud of, but it is like, I see that now, that I wasn't as gentle with his heart as I could have been.
that's why so many people are terrified of class reunions.
Oh yeah, I don't go to those either.
Oh, I
Ooh.
love the way the the bass, and I think the piano is used in that track. There's a kind of soulfulness to it. Remember how that came about?
I
Is
have
that
to give all of that credit to my wonderful producer and collaborator, Derek Garton.
Mhm.
He's just outstanding. And I didn't even have the vocabulary to communicate with him what I wanted these songs to sound like. And
Mhm.
I just said, give it like that spatial, moody feeling, but it can't be too slow because it's not a ballad, but it is like a slower song, So, and he
Yeah,
just went, I got it. I got you. And he knocked it out of the park. So,
he did.
yeah,
He did. That should be a hit. Oh my gosh.
thank you.
Uh, Bright Eyes kind of reminded me, the songs that Nicolette Larson wrote for her kids, and then it's such a happy song. I mean, it's laughing all the way, their child through his life.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I won the lottery in the kid department. He's like a great kid, but I paid for it on the front end. That's the joke. I'm like, "Of course I got a good sleeper and a kid that says please and thank you." I paid for it. I paid my dues.
Yeah, yeah. And then just wanted blew me away too. You want to talk a little bit about that song? It's sort of a song about a woman having silent desperation because her husband has grown cold. Give
Yeah,
you
there was
context.
another song that was popular at the time, and I can't remember, and we sort of did it from the other perspective, and
Yeah,
that was sort of like the inspiration for the idea, and then of course we're pulling from like our failed relationships, going like,
yeah,
well, like why didn't that one work out? Because I didn't feel wanted, and what were the behaviors of that? So it was certainly we pull from real life experiences, but we were pulling from relationships that didn't pan out,
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the sort of hazard, the autobiographical hazard. I mean, some of your material is autobiographical, and a lot of
Yeah.
it's from personal experience, but not necessarily Taylor Swift writing about John Mayer.
Well, I don't know either of them personally, so I can't speak to that.
But you know how the Swifties always try to correlate everything in her
I
life
know.
with her
I know.
lyrics. So
We do try to correlate everything with
yes, so don't do that.
her.
At least don't do that with Mira. Um, so where do you see your career right now in terms of you worked with Colby Kelly's dad on one of
Yeah.
your albums? Are you still with that label, or where are you
I'm
now?
not. I'm not with them anymore. So like that was we just like we worked on one project together. That was
Yeah.
um our like terms, and it went
Mm,
wonderfully, I think. And we fell victim to the pandemic, and in terms of like my first single came out February of 2020, and I was opening for top 40 bands that summer that I couldn't like announce yet
yeah.
contractually, and all of it went away overnight. So we had big dreams and big plans for that didn't pan out, but I still feel very proud of the project that we did together. And this one, though, I this current project I did all on my own. I wanted to have control of it from the top down. And it's not to say that I didn't have control over the other one top down. It was just, I don't know, I felt very alone like during the pandemic and new motherhood
Yeah.
and stuff. So I just felt like a little chip on my shoulder about wanting to do it alone. So where do I see like next steps? Is that what
Yeah, I
you
mean, are you gonna go out on the road with somebody, or you gonna stay home and write, or what are you gonna do?
I think right now actually what I'm trying to do is expand my toolbox a little bit. I'm
Mhm,
started going to taking some classes learning how to produce a little bit. So
mhm.
that's been really fun. Like I mentioned earlier, when I was in the studio with Derek making this record, I didn't even have the vocabulary to communicate with him what I wanted in the recording. So I'm picking up that vocabulary. I'm picking up that skill set, if you will, and that's not necessarily so I can make records for myself or for other people, but just so I can sort of, I mean, every time I need a demo for something or need a recording for something or just even like a clean work tape, I have to hire somebody to do it, and then I have to communicate how I want it done. So I feel like
Yeah,
learning how to do this is gonna help, at the very least, is gonna help me communicate how I want something done. So there's something like 3% of all producers in the world are women. So I'm you know, let's go, man. Let's do this. I can at least make some demos now and make things sound the way that I'm hearing them.
so you do write for other people.
Yeah.
Uh, who's recorded your music so far that you can?
Well, I have not a ton yet, but we're getting there. Um, I have a song with Mark Broussard and a
Mhm.
song with Love and Theft, who are just really You're talking about some of the nicest, kindest, like, artists that in the industry. Like, I can't think of better people to have cuts with. They're just really, I'm so lucky that like I get to work with these guys. So
That's great. And you made quite an investment in TikTok. I was noticing that it's a heck of a lot of videos up there.
there's first of all, what a wonderful way to waste time. But I had a song of mine go a little bit viral on there that people were using it in as a sound in their videos, and so that was pretty fun. I got to meet a lot of people all over the world for that. So
What kind of contact do you have generally with your fans?
I'm pretty responsive. I like to hear from people. I genuinely like people and conversation. I could go take the garbage out and get stuck outside for an hour just chatting with neighbors. So I'm very extroverted, in case you couldn't tell. So yeah, I like hearing from people. I like hearing what like my songs mean to them. I got videos of a bride walking down the aisle to one of my songs, and she still stays in touch, and I love that. I encourage it. I want people to reach out to me and share things with me that, that resonated with them, because that's why I do it. I write so that I can relate to people. Maybe we all feel a little bit less alone if somebody's going through what you went through. Like,
Well, I just want to let people know that we've had over 1,800 bands and artists perform for us. And Mira's one of my favorite, top 1%. And if you have any sense at all, you will dial up Mira Goto on Spotify and listen to the new EP before, and probably have yourself a good cry,
oh,
or at least remember some of the pivotal events in your life. Uh, she she has a genius for speaking to what's universal about the human experience. So thank you so much, Mira, for the time today.
that's really, really just very sweet, and you have such a good way with words, and I'm grateful for your time too, and thanks for giving me, an artist like me, a platform in your space to talk about ourselves. So I appreciate you. Thank you.